In today's video, we're going to be going over the last couple, you heard me right, the last couple of kits 9 and 10 of my Annie's Holiday Spice Moroccan Afghan. Now, normally I would just do one kit at a time, but there are a couple of reasons for this. The first reason for this is kits 9 and 10, between the two of them, have like 3 different patterns. So really, I don't want to just dedicate a single video to one pattern. I'll dedicate a video to 3 of the patterns, and we'll get this particular kit all wrapped up. I'm excited to see it finished. The second reason, and probably the most important reason, is they actually sent me the wrong instruction booklet. So they sent me an instruction booklet for kit 8, and I really need my next instruction booklet for kit 9, and then I assume I'll get the right booklet for kit 10, and we'll wrap it all up with one video, and this is that video. So basically, I'm having to wait for my new booklet to come in so that I can actually start with section 9 of this Afghan. Hello, my name is Sig, and this is Essential Crochet, and you, of course, are always welcomed here. Please, if you enjoy this content, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything, and it helps to support the channel. Also, if you really like this video and you want to be notified of other videos like this or any of my other videos that drop regularly, hit the notification bell. That helps too. And of course, I always welcome your comments or questions in the comment box below. Okay. Let's just pretend I'm not waiting for instruction booklets or kits number 10, and we'll, via the power of video, just jump right into our unboxing, our reveal, and finally the review. So let's talk about yarn for kits 9 and kits 10. So for kits 9, I was basically given a total of 5 skeins of this paprika. And that's because the border I'm going to be working on just simply has one color. Now for kit 10, I was given 5 skeins of this rhubarb. Also for kit 10, I'm going to need saffron. I'm going to need cream. And then also I'm going to need basil. Now I'm going to use a bit of cream. However, I probably won't use very much saffron, and I probably won't use very much basil, so I don't need a lot of that. As far as the cream's concerned, I only have the 1 skein plus this little bit here in my hands, so hopefully, while I feel like we could be playing yarn chicken, hopefully that is not the case, but I guess we're going to find out. So for this kit 9 and 10, and because what happened with kit 9 was I never did get a new instruction booklet. What they did was they sent me instructions on how to access and print the instructions offline. So that was okay. So on this instruction booklet, I'm going to show you the difference between kit 9 and kit 10. This is the border I will be working on. So you see, it looks like a nice texture. It's kind of it looks almost like a crisscrossy kind of texture, and I'm interested in seeing how that works up. And so I'm sure we're mostly just going to be focusing on count here because it's all just one color, so not a lot of color change. Now for kit 10, however, we will be working on this very last border, and this is where the rhubarb, or rather, actually, the rhubarb color, the rhubarb and cream are worked together. So, yeah, I'm a little concerned because I got so much rhubarb for the border, but I only have 1 skein and a little bit of cream left. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see how much yarn I have left over once this is finished. Hopefully I have enough. Cross my fingers. I'm guessing I probably do because, you know, Annie's been pretty good. Even though there have been times where I feel like we've cut it really close, we've still come out ahead. And then also in terms of the saffron and the basil, You can see on the tassels that we make, this is where the saffron and the basil go. So you really don't need a lot of that going on. So again, I've got what they call a polka dot border for kit 10. And then for kit 9, I have, let me see what this border is called. Oh, they don't have a special name for it. They just call it the border. All right. So let's go ahead and get started. And I'll be right back with you in order to discuss what these borders look like and how they worked up. And finally, reveal the finished product of this Afghan. I'm so excited. Now, with the completion of kit 9, you can see right here that it was all pretty much this same paprika color. There was no change in colorway, just the one colorway. And the design or the stitch given was basically a front post split stitch. And so it gives us this great kind of crisscross pattern. Now, this was pretty simple to do. The instructions for it were actually pretty good. I don't have any complaints about that. And it moved along pretty quickly. For those of you who are intermediate, you're not going to have any issues with this. For those of you who are a beginner, you might want to take a second look at the video provided to you from the Annie's company in order to get a better feel for exactly what it is you want to be doing with this particular stitch. Now, for kit 10, we have a different type of border, and this border includes what they're calling a polka dot border. So basically, you can see it's a mixture of the rhubarb colorway of yarn mixed with the cream. Now, they didn't give me any more cream for kit 10, so I really needed to use the cream that I had left over from previous kits. And with cream throughout this entire project, I have felt like I have pretty much been plain yarn chicken. So I'll get a little more into it when I talk about the yarns, but really, there wasn't any room for mistake in terms of the cream yarn. Now, with that said, this polka dot border was very straightforward. It was easy to follow. The instructions were clear. And in kit 10, we had more than just the one stitch to do. So they gave us a couple of different stitches to do. And you can see that with the general border, with how the polka dot is made. Also with the edging, which is a reversed single crochet, or otherwise known as a crab stitch. So we get into that a little bit. But you've done a crab stitch earlier in this pattern if you're actually making this kit right now, or if you're not making this kit, then you'll find out pretty early in the construction of this Afghan that you see this reverse stitch a couple of different times during the making of this. And then also for kit 10, they give you several options for tassels for the corner of your Afghan. So in terms of tassels, they give us 3 different tassels to choose from, or at least 3 different approaches to design elements of tassels that you might be interested in. So the first one they give you is this basic tassel right here. If you notice with the tassel I used, I still switched things up just a bit to suit my own needs and liking, but that's on you. And the first style of tassel they give here is this tassel, and it gives you kind of this beaded look, this cream colored beaded look. And then you get kind of this macrame kind of a design element into the tassel itself. And so they give good instructions on how to do that. Now the next tassel is really kind of a super basic approach to the tassels. And if you made a mistake with your cream and you ran out of cream and you needed to make your tassel, this is a good alternative because here you're not required to have any additional yarn, just the rhubarb that they gave you plenty of in the kit. And then the third tassel option given to you in the kit is just a super basic, simple tassel. So if you're a little intimidated by the other tassels, or they're a little more work than you really want to put into it, or they doesn't suit your aesthetics, this one has a very festive look to it, but it's also very simple and very straightforward, and they give you directions for that one as well. So now let's talk yarn. There were some yarns that they gave us plenty of. So for example, this saffron, we got more than enough saffron to work with. And then in terms of this sienna colorway, we clearly got plenty of this to work with. Basil, again, plenty to work with in terms of the basil. Evergreen, cocoa, paprika, and then rhubarb. So the colors I just mentioned right here, let me see if I can get them all in the screen for you. Maybe, maybe not. Okay, let's try this. These 7 colors were plentiful. They gave you plenty of this yarn. I have enough of this yarn to make all sorts of different things if I chose to. So I can just put this in my stash and use it as supplemental bits and pieces. Or I could even get a few granny squares out of this if I wanted to use the same yarn and I was open to mixing up my colors. I have plenty of yarn here to make a small baby blanket. I can make a child's sweater with what's here. I can use this and create a border for a different project. This yarn is really just a good, solid, moderate, middle of the road yarn. So you can use this in anything that you want. Anything from, oh, let's say a beginning or a beginner's amigurumi. I personally find that certain cotton yarns work best for amigurumi. However, with that said, there are some acrylic yarns that I think work great as well. But this is just basic, middle of the road, great, solid, standard, everyday kind of yarn. And I always feel better when the kit leaves me with plenty of yarn left over. Now, in terms of the yarn that I completely felt like I was playing yarn chicken with, or at the very least, understood that there was not going to be any room for mistake, was this cayenne color. So in the big scheme of things, this is really plenty of cayenne, or the amount of the cayenne colorway they gave us really satisfied the need of what we would use it for, and this is what I had left over. And so if you made a little mistake, you weren't going to run into any problems. But if you made a big mistake, you could very well have run into problems. Now, we used a little more of this pine cone colorway. And so in terms of working with the pine cone, iffy. Maybe you could make a couple of smaller mistakes and be okay, but if you made a larger mistake in terms of your yarn usage, you are going to be in trouble. Pretty much the same goes for this pink or garden pink colorway. This color, I was really concerned about playing yarn chicken with. So if I had made a small mistake in terms of my yarn usage, I probably would have been okay. Had I made a large mistake in terms of yarn usage, I would be really, really concerned about having enough yarn left over to take care of the actual project itself. Now, in terms of the cream, this is all I had left over from the cream, and I made no mistakes with yarn usage for the cream at all. And we use a lot of cream in this project, probably more cream than any other colorway used in this project. And this is all I had left over. So basically what I'm telling you is don't screw up the cream. You don't have any room for screwing up the cream. You want to make sure that you're very careful. You want to make sure that you do not make a mistake that causes you to lose yarn. in terms of the cream yarn, because they just barely give you enough. And there were several times in this project where I really felt like I was playing yarn chicken with the cream. Now, they always gave me enough cream. So there was one kit where I ran short of cream. And so I had to wait for the next kit to arrive in order to finish up the previous kit and then move on to the next kit. And that worked out fine. And they always made sure I had enough cream to do what I needed, but not enough cream in case there was a mistake. So just keep that in mind. So at the end of the day, I am really pleased with the way this Afghan turned out. The colors are great. If I were to have any complaint about this Afghan, it would be that this is not a beginner Afghan. If you're intermediate, you're going to run into maybe some challenges. And if you're advanced, you might run into some challenges. As a beginner, this is really an ambitious project. However, with that said, they do offer the videos and their instructions are fairly clear. And so even a beginner, if they really take their time and really pay attention to their count and their instructions, can make this Afghan as well. It has been such a pleasure to have you with me here today, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye-bye now, and have a wonderful and safe week.